So today I wanted to go over the possibility of mechs in Starfield. So as of 15 hours ago when recording this video, we got 3 new Starfield videos that are short animated videos basically giving some small stories and background lore to the Starfield universe. Now one of them is called Where Hope is Built, and the description of this is Vana, an Achille City orphan of the famous Colony Wars, desperately wants to explore the stars, and only one thing stands in her way: a broken ship. Her search for repair parts leads her throughout the city and into some unexpected danger as she closes in on her dreams. I'm not going to go over that whole video. I'd very much recommend you go and watch it, but one of the interesting parts is that they showed a flashback from the Colony Wars, which showed some piloted mech suits. So big mechs, they had weapons on each hand, and they were fighting in the Colony Wars. Now the Colony Wars were a war fought between the United Colonies and the Free Star Collective, and this war concluded in 2310 AD, which was 20 years before the game of Starfield, and there's been peace ever since, and the Free Star Collective won this war, so they were able to stay independent. And these big mech suits were one of the piece of weaponry used within this war, and we actually got to see some of these dilapidated and broken down mechs in actual gameplay from one of the Starfield trailers. So we do actually get to see these mechs in game. And one of the big theories going around in the community right now is that we'll be able to pilot one of these mechs. And I just want to come out right off the bat and say, I don't think that's going to be the case on launch of Starfield. I do think we'll probably have some quests that has us interact with these broken down mechs. I do think there may even be the possibility of one of the factions retrofitting one of these old mechs, and maybe you fight one of them as a boss. But I don't think we will be the ones driving around one of these big mechs, because these things are shown to be pretty large, and I think driving one of these around would be considered a land vehicle. And from one of Todd Howard's interviews, we know that there won't be land vehicles within Starfield, at least on launch. So I don't think we'll be driving these when the game is released, but I do think this is a very good possibility for future content. Now I do have a bigger theory when it comes to these mechs, and I do think that somewhere down the road in some future DLC or expansion, there's a good chance we will be able to drive these mechs around. And this starts at Todd Howard mentioning multiple times that Bethesda is planning on supporting Starfield with future content updates more than they've supported previous Bethesda titles. So this means more DLCs, more expansions, more updates, and more new content. Because I think they're planning for Starfield to be a game that's played a decade, maybe 2 decades down the road, like how Skyrim is right now. But instead of just letting modders and re-releases be the new content, they're planning on adding a lot more content to the game. And I think one of the most requested things from the community is going to be drivable land vehicles, because we know we're not getting that on launch. And I think a very good way to go about this is to give us these drivable mechs that would be a very good way to implement ground vehicles. But my theory is a much bigger vision for these mechs. And this bigger vision is that they're going to add these drivable mechs, but they're also going to tie them in to the shipbuilding system they have in Starfield. Because in Starfield, the ship customization is incredibly modular and incredibly deep. You can customize everything from the complete layout to the interior to decorations in the interior to even the entire color of the ship. We even saw the developers legitimately make their own massive mech ship that still works completely fine. So there's going to be a ridiculous amount of creativity there. But imagine they add in drivable ground mechs that they also add in to that customization system. So you can be fully or somewhat modular with the full customization of the mech. You can add new weapons onto it. You can change the colors. You can maybe add in some additional pieces, like maybe adding in some type of jump pack or jet pack to your mech, so maybe they can float around the ground, or maybe they can do big jumps, or maybe you give them boosters so they can move around much more quickly. Then they could add in the color customization like they have for ships. Maybe you could also add a bigger cockpit. Maybe you could add a 2-person cockpit so you could have a crew member pilot that mech with you and maybe help you with the guns. They could also add in the power management system from the ships to the mech, So you could add or remove power to the legs, you could add or remove power to the different arms that have the weapons, you could add more power to those booster packs to move you around quicker, you could add more power to the jump packs, you could jump higher or jump more. There's just an infinite of possibilities just adding these mechs into their already built systems that they're using for the ships. And I know this may sound a little bit far-fetched, but it becomes a little bit more believable when you look at how video games are developed. So look at, for instance, the building system that we got in Fallout 4. That was a system created by one person just messing around and creating something they thought would be cool. They added it in Fallout 4, it ended up being more popular than they thought, so they continued it into Fallout 76 and advanced on it a little bit, but then that system turned into the massively upgraded system for outposts in Starfield. And you can bet they're using a lot of the tech that was created in Fallout 4 for the outpost system in Starfield. And that's generally how video game development works for sequels of games or for more long-running games. Even if a system isn't continued to be used, the underlying tech is continued to be used. And they already have a system with the ship customization that probably took a ridiculous amount of time to create and to get actually working in the game. So adding in a new system and being able to tie it in to their already created system is something that they would definitely want to do, and is something that would just legitimately be really cool. Imagine just going on a big quest line, getting your own mech, being able to fully customize it. They could add more skills into the tech skill tree to allow you to customize your mechs even more. Then imagine fighting other enemies or even other mechs on planets in your own mech suit. And then to even further expand upon that, you would want to still take your mech with you on your ship to other planets. So maybe now there's another ship component that you make that's a mech storage bay that's a specific component you put on your ships. So now you pack up your mech and put it into your ship so you can take it with you on all of your adventures on any other planets. So even though a little far-fetched, that's my theory for the future of Starfield. In some future DLC or expansion, we're getting drivable mechs that we can drive around on the surface of planets. They're going to be fully customizable just like ships are, and they're going to have the power management minigame that ships also have. So bookmark this video for some year in the future where we get drivable mechs. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.